In 24 hours, this town will never be the same. By Friday, 50,000 men will be dead, wounded, or missing. The streets where children play this morning will be used as open-air hospitals. The fields surrounding this quiet Pennsylvania town will be soaked in blood for a mile in every direction. But you don't know that yet. The year is 1863. The town is Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Population 2,400 people. A crossroads town. 10 roads meeting at a single square called the Diamond. Farmers, shopkeepers, a shoe factory. A Lutheran seminary on the ridge west of town. Nobody planned to fight here. The Civil War has been grinding for 2 years. Battles at Bull Run, Antietam, Fredericksburg. The Confederacy has won more than it has lost. General Robert E. Lee is confident, dangerously confident. He has crossed the Potomac with 75,000 men and pushed deep into Pennsylvania, the first major Confederate invasion of the North. His plan: threaten Philadelphia, force Washington into panic, win a battle on Northern soil, break the Union's will to fight. General George Meade's Union Army of the Potomac, 90,000 men, is somewhere to the south marching to find him. Both armies are moving blind. No one has chosen Gettysburg, but 10 roads meet here. You wake up on July 1st, 1863. Wednesday morning, you smell fresh bread from the bakery on Baltimore Street. Church bells ring at 6. Your neighbor is already hitching his horse for the morning ride to his farm west of town. Where the dust clouds are. He doesn't notice them. Not yet. You don't either. You're just going about your morning. The sun is warm, the fields are green. Pennsylvania in summer is beautiful. You have no idea what is coming down those 10 roads. You walk down Baltimore Street toward the Diamond, the town square at the center of Gettysburg. The blacksmith already has his forge going. The sound of iron on iron rings through the morning air. Mrs. Bueller is opening her husband's drugstore. The Wills house on the square, home of attorney David Wills, is quiet. In 4 months, Abraham Lincoln will sleep in that house the night before giving the most famous speech in American history. Right now, it's just a brick house on a quiet square. The town has felt the war for 2 years. Husbands and sons gone, prices rising, newspapers full of casualty lists. A Confederate cavalry raid through Gettysburg last year took horses and supplies. People assumed this time would be the same. Take some supplies, move on. They were wrong. You pass the home of Ginnie Wade, Mary Virginia Wade, 20 years old, known to everyone as Ginnie. She's at her sister's house today on Baltimore Street. She's baking bread. Union soldiers are coming and she wants to feed them. She's been doing this for days, sliding loaves through the window to passing troops. She will be the only Gettysburg civilian killed in the battle. A stray bullet will pass through 2 wooden doors and strike her in the back. Right now, she is humming while she bakes. You hear a rumor at the square. Someone says soldiers were spotted last night. Someone says soldiers were spotted last night on the Chambersburg Pike. Confederate soldiers, a lot of them, moving east, toward town. People laugh nervously. They won't come into town, someone says, just foraging. The blacksmith goes back to his iron. The bread rises in Ginnie's kitchen. West of town, the dust clouds grow larger.
1 mile west of town, on a ridge called Seminary Ridge, a man named John Buford is watching the roads. General John Buford commands 3,000 Union cavalry. He rode into Gettysburg yesterday, assessed the terrain, and immediately understood something that no one else has realized yet. This town is where the battle will happen. Must happen. 10 roads converge here. Whoever holds Gettysburg controls the roads. Controls the roads, controls the campaign. Buford spent last night positioning his men. Thin cavalry picket lines strung across every road west and north of town, trying to hold with 3,000 horsemen against what he suspects is coming. He climbs to the cupola of the Lutheran Theological Seminary, looks west through his field glasses. Confederate infantry, thousands of them, spread across the ridges, moving east, moving toward Gettysburg. Buford turns to an aide. "They will attack in the morning," he says, "and they will come booming." He sends desperate dispatches south. Reynolds, General John Reynolds, one of the finest officers in the Union Army, is pushing his infantry corps north as fast as men can march. Coming to support Buford, racing toward a town he's never heard of. Out on the Chambersburg Pike, Confederate General Henry Heth is moving his division east. His mission: find shoes. The Confederate Army is desperately short of footwear. Intelligence reports say a shoe depot in Gettysburg. He's going to get them. He doesn't know Union cavalry is waiting. 2 armies, moving toward the same crossroads. Neither commander has ordered a battle here. Neither Lee nor Meade wants to fight today. Both want more time to concentrate their forces. But 75,000 Confederates and 90,000 Union soldiers are all marching toward 10 converging roads. And at the center of those roads, 2,400 civilians who just want to sell shoes and bake bread. The collision is minutes away. Atmospheric cinematic music swelling. By mid-morning, the rumors have stopped being rumors. Families west of town are loading wagons, silver wrapped in blankets, important papers, children lifted onto cart beds. Just a precaution, parents tell them. We'll come back tonight. Some will never come back. South of town, at Evergreen Cemetery on Cemetery Hill, Elizabeth Thorne is tending graves. Her husband Peter is away at war. She is managing the cemetery alone, 6 months pregnant. She has no idea that within 72 hours, she will be asked to dig 105 fresh graves in this same ground. That she will dig them herself, by hand, in the July heat. She clips the grass around a headstone and watches the smoke rising to the northwest. In the town, at the Lutheran Theological Seminary on the ridge, Professor Michael Jacobs has been watching through a telescope all morning. He has been recording the weather every day for years. Temperature, cloud cover, wind direction, a scientist's habit. Today he records something different. The sound of cannon fire beginning at 7:30 a.m. The first shots of the Battle of Gettysburg have been fired. Out on McPherson Ridge, Buford's cavalry is fighting. Dismounted using their carbines like infantry, outnumbered, buying time. Every minute they hold is a minute for Reynolds' infantry to get closer. They hold for 2 hours. General Reynolds arrives. He gallops up McPherson Ridge, rallying his men forward into the woods, pointing toward a stand of trees, McPherson's Woods, where Confederate infantry is pressing hard. "Forward, men, forward for God's sake, drive those men out of those woods." A Confederate bullet strikes him behind the right ear. He falls from his horse instantly, dead before he hits the ground. His men don't stop. They carry him to the rear and keep fighting. In Gettysburg, windows are beginning to shatter, atmospheric cinematic music swelling. Final musical sting.
By mid-afternoon, the Union line is breaking. 2 full Confederate corps are now on the field, 25,000 men pressing from the west and north simultaneously. The Union defenders, outnumbered, exhausted from the morning's fighting, begin to collapse. And then the retreat becomes a rout. Thousands of Union soldiers pour back through Gettysburg, running south through the very streets you walked this morning. Down Chambersburg Street, through the Diamond, down Baltimore Street. Confederate soldiers chasing them, shooting, capturing hundreds in alleyways and between houses. You are in your cellar. You can hear boots on your floorboards above you. Men shouting in Southern accents, glass breaking, a horse screaming. Catherine Ziegler opens her door and pulls wounded Union soldiers inside, 40 of them jammed into her house. She hides them as Confederate troops sweep through the street. If they're found, they'll be taken prisoner. She doesn't care. She feeds them and tells them to be quiet. Sally Myers, a 21-year-old schoolteacher, is in the streets helping the wounded. She has no medical training. She holds dying men's hands and tells them they will be okay. She will spend the next month nursing the wounded in makeshift hospitals throughout the town. By 4 p.m., the Confederates control Gettysburg. The town you woke up in this morning, your bakeries, your blacksmith, your church, your school, is now an occupied town. Confederate soldiers move through the streets. Union prisoners are marched to holding areas. The dead and wounded lie in the yards. But here is the thing the Confederates don't yet realize. The Union survivors have made it to Cemetery Hill south of town. High ground, defensive ground. And more Union forces are arriving by the hour. The battle for Gettysburg has only just begun. If you want to walk through Baghdad in 1258, the night before the Mongols turned the Tigris River black with ink, subscribe now. Every week we go back. We stand in the places history turned, the day before everything changed. July 2nd, the second day. Lee attacks both Union flanks. To the south, Confederate forces fight for rocky outcroppings called Little Round Top and Devil's Den. The fighting is brutal, hand-to-hand in some places, men grappling among boulders. A Union colonel named Joshua Chamberlain runs out of ammunition on Little Round Top and orders a bayonet charge downhill. The charge holds the flank. If it fails, The entire Union line collapses. To the north, Confederate forces assault Cemetery Hill and Culp's Hill in the evening. Desperate fighting in the darkness. Lanterns and muzzle flashes, men dying in the dark between the gravestones of Evergreen Cemetery. The Union line holds. Barely. July 3rd. The third day. Lee makes his decision. He will strike the center of the Union line on Cemetery Ridge. A massive infantry assault. 2,500 men marching 3/4 of a mile across open fields toward entrenched Union positions. Pickett's charge. For the men who march it, those fields will be the last thing they ever see. Confederate artillery bombards Cemetery Ridge for 2 hours, the largest artillery barrage in American history. Then the infantry steps out from the tree line and begins walking. Dressed ranks, battle flags flying. The Union artillery waits. The Union infantry waits. When the Confederates are 400 yards out, the Union opens fire. The slaughter is almost beyond comprehension. Of 12,500 men who step out of the tree line, fewer than half return. The ground is covered in gray and brown. Officers try to rally broken units. The attack collapses. Lee rides out to meet the survivors. "It was all my fault," he tells them. "It is I who have lost this fight." The Battle of Gettysburg is over. The Confederacy will never invade the North again. When the guns stop on July 3rd, Gettysburg is unrecognizable. 51,000 casualties in 3 days. Dead men and horses covering every field, every ridge, every road you walked on Wednesday morning. The smell reaches miles in every direction. July heat. No refrigeration. The bodies must be buried immediately. Elizabeth Thorne, 6 months pregnant, her husband still at war, digs 105 graves by hand in Evergreen Cemetery. It takes weeks. She will later say it ruined her health permanently. The town's homes, churches, and schools become hospitals. 21,000 wounded men distributed across every building in Gettysburg. Sally Myers, the schoolteacher, nurses soldiers for months. Some men she saves. Some she holds while they die. She writes their names down so she can write to their families. Ginnie Wade is buried quietly, the only civilian killed. She was 20 years old, baking bread. It takes months to clear the dead, years to repair the town. The trauma never fully heals. 4 months after the battle, November 19, 1863, Abraham Lincoln comes to Gettysburg. He stands on Cemetery Hill looking out over the graves of the men who fought here. He speaks for 2 minutes, 271 words, and that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom. He is standing on the hill that those retreating Union soldiers ran to on the first day. The hill that held. The hill that turned the battle. The crossroads town held too. It holds still. Next week we go to Baghdad, 1258 AD. The greatest library in the medieval world is inside those walls. Aristotle, Plato, centuries of accumulated human knowledge. The Mongols are at the gates with 150,000 soldiers. In 48 hours, the Tigris River will run black with ink. Walk with us.